Spontaneous and random insights from the studio. That's what I called my YouTube channel when I first started. I think I was from the artist, spontaneous and random insights from the artist. This isn't going to be so random because I've talked about some of this before. And I'm going to try, and I haven't done a lot of videos because I haven't really got anything to report. What I'd like to do is use the YouTube venue as a kind of streaming of my thoughts, the same way when I work on a painting, I let it happen, and YouTube has been somewhat like that. But we're in the fight for our lives to try and stop the criminals who are attempting to kill all life on this planet with their nuclear technology. So I want to create, again, context, some thoughts that I have, and I'm going to reiterate something that I've said before. And what I'd like to say is to people that are sort of not sitting on the fence, but have distanced themselves from a situation that when they hear about it is so monumental, they just eliminate it from their daily itinerary of thinking. I believe this happens all the time, that people hear somebody like me or Dana Durnford, people that speak about the profound circumstances within this time that we're in, the profound circumstances of this time, what I call the age of fission. We live in the age of fission. There is a tendency in a person, and I include myself, that when I can't compute on some level the monumentality of it, I'll deny or ignore or just be passive around it. Now, my thought on this is, and to counter this, what I'm attempting to do every day in myself to keep my hope up that there is a future. I want there to be a future, and it takes effort, it takes work to keep up this level of hope that I want to live with. We all need, if we don't hope, we're done, we're finished. It's like you stop breathing. Breathing is predicated on this fundamental desire to live. And what is living? Living means that we desire to have another day. It's a hope for another day. Yes, of course, we're in the present, but there's also this aspect to us that we see ourselves to some extent in the future, if you want to put it that way. So my thought today is on why I find myself frustrated, like a lot of other people, when this topic arises, that the criminal nuclear syndicate, these criminals, can just sort of take over the ship and steer it into the cliffs. Sort of the sirens, it's kind of like the nuclear elements are the sirens, and everybody is like heading toward the sirens on the rocks, and they don't turn out to be beautiful women that, yeah. So here's my thought, and I've said this before, that we don't have to do anything. This is like I'm saying to everyone that listens to the idea that we're in a monumental destruction, I'm saying you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. And the reason I say that is because I understand why we're in this position is because every person has this desire to externalize their own pain. And until that stops, to externalize the pain we feel about whatever it is, whether it's something that we think is outside, it's more likely an inner thing that has been going on for most of us on some level, that unless we're able to stop this externalization of our own pain, we're totally useless to anyone else, whether that is as an activist, Greenpeace activists and environmentalists, or social issues. Yes, we speak of important issues, but unless we stop externalizing the pain, we're no longer of use to anyone. And what I mean by that is the feeling that we have that we're incapable or useless or incapable of affecting anything is because we haven't allowed ourselves to truly feel we don't have to do anything. And we can't really do that unless We end that thing that happens in us to always look outside of ourselves for anything and everything outside of ourselves. It's like an inner battle. Like I've always said, we need to fight the inner battle. And now what is this? What is this battle? And I'm saying right now, the first step towards if we have an objective, a plan to stop these bastards from doing what they're doing, we have to start with us. And the first thing that we do is basically say, we don't have to do anything, but we need to look at this inner part of ourselves that's preventing us from becoming effective, which is the pain we feel. We externalize it and make it happen outside of us. And just say to ourselves, honestly, this is happening. There is no point in being active on any level if we don't really feel somewhere deep down that what we're fighting for or fighting against is actually happening. And I think this is something that is a byproduct when we actually accept this part. This is how I feel myself. When I just, in silence or in some form of reflection, I'm able to stop this externalizing of my own pain and just think about something and say, yes, this is true. This is happening. And then out of that comes whatever it is that we are meant to do. I'm convinced of this. I think every person has some kind of inner compass drive towards fulfilling this hope. What I talk about when I say this is the hope. There is something within us that thrives on fulfilling a part of us that it's a mystery, I think. I can't really explain why it exists, but it's just there. But to get to the point of being effective, we have to stop externalizing our own pain and just accept something that is happening, truly happening. So when you think about this, it's actually quite a paradox that to feel within oneself that the greatest action is, in a sense, inaction that will lead to action. That's what I'm saying. And to sort of round this off, this concept, the hope part of it, which is really preoccupying me, this feeling, the sense of hope that we have. And I'm thinking idea of, let's say if I stand in front of YouTube and start complaining and being angry about stuff, there is a place for anger. But when you're flogging a corpse, that corpse is not going to rise and do what you want it to do. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. And the reason that, collectively speaking, I am actually convinced that the hope, in a collective sense, the way the human race, the populations everywhere are acting, either defending themselves from the bullets that are flying, that are flying because the paymasters have decided to disrupt civil society all throughout the world to have their benefit. What has occurred as a consequence, I believe, when people are not dodging bullets or trying to pay their debts, the hope has been extracted. This is the tragedy within the human family, that generally speaking, I believe the hope has been extracted. So to punish and to wail on people the way that is going on a lot of YouTube is really quite, it's not only counterproductive, it's nuts, it's crazy. It doesn't work that way. This is not how people function. You don't bludgeon people into submission with your brilliance, your insights, your anger, whatever. It's a seductive thing. People need to feel the hope. And how do you get this hope back into, how do we get this hope back into our life? And that is what I say is living our calling. And how do you get to that calling, that inner thing that really motivates every person to get up in the morning and want to do what it is that they really want to do? I mean, we have responsibilities, we take care of stuff, but there is something inside all of us that we really want to do, but we're no longer doing it because we've lost hope. And it has been extracted. And this has been going on. I'm convinced this has been going on. This is what culture is about. Culture is there to fundamentally destroy hope in people. Create elaborate systems of brilliance that have no value of any kind to anyone anymore. And there are highlights, come on, I mean, sure, people have, in spite of everything, have produced incredible work that inspire and make us feel great about ourselves. But ultimately, if everything is going ratchet, batshit crazy and it's falling apart, it's not working, what is the fundamental issue we need to address personally to make something happen that will change the course we're on? And I'm saying we basically just stop externalizing everything like I started to talk about and look at ourselves and say, all right, here I am. This is who I am. What is it? What is it about me that makes me me? And what can I do that makes me completely, totally connected and attached to everything? And that is to say, what's happening? What is really happening? Micro, macro, and accept it. And not say, oh, then I have to do this and that. No, then just let that sit and rise wherever it wants to go. Whatever kind of image that is conjured in one's own life to be active in whichever way. Because unless we just sort of sit in a chair and not move, I mean, we're all desirous of being active. We love doing things, experiencing. But the significance of our lives is not to what extent we fill this empty vessel, but to the extent that we actually live that which we really want to do. And to continuously try to shove things into ourselves. Food is a good example, how we indulge in food, but all the other things, food, our experiences, we go and we bungee jump and we race car drive and we ski down a hill and all those activities, fine, yeah, fine. But if it's just there to fill the empty vessel, it's never going to happen. It's never going to be filled. And we're going to be stuck. As I say, we're in the age of fission. We're going to be stuck with what we've created because we externalize our pain. We're not willing to just settle down, be quiet, and figure out what it is that truly is happening around us. What is it? In a personal way, in our own daily lives, and in the big picture. We need to accept something that is of importance and accept that it's happening. And YouTubers, stop wailing on everybody because it's not going to go anywhere. Flogging, it's an ugly image, you know, the flogging the dead horse or the mule, that story. It's like ugly. I hate it. But this is sort of like psychologically what's happening to say, oh, you're so stupid. The sheeple, the ignorance people are so disgusting. So what? So what? It's because the hope's been extracted that the way people are is because they're hopeless. Anyway.